How much blame does Justin Herbert deserve for the Chargers collapse?
50 minutes in, we're getting to the first stuff.
Yeah, for real. But it's not a long show, I promise you.
Okay.
Okay, bro.
No. I actually do believe that. I'll say this. I think that he deserves blame. I think that you can't look at him. He's the quarterback. So, automatically, people are going to want to put a majority of the blame because the quarterback is the most important piece to a team. And I've been very critical of Matt Ryan's collapse against the Patriots, and I label Matt Ryan a choker for that performance. So I would be remiss to not at least keep it consistent and hold Herbert to that same standard because Matt Ryan is an MVP. I think Justin Herbert is a future MVP. And when you're blowing 27-point leads and losing a game because you're getting too cozy, you're getting too comfortable, but the difference is at least Matt Ryan, I can't say that also because let's be real. Justin Herbert put Cameron Dicker in a position to kick a field goal that would have put it at more than a field goal's distance, and we might not even be having this conversation right now. But Dicker misses the 40-yard field goal. Then it turns over to Jacksonville. They go down. Of course, they score a touchdown. They were rolling. And then you get another chance. If you're Justin Herbert, you got to do something, a 3-and-out. It's not going to get it done. They had multiple chances, and it was multiple 3-and-out outside of that one opportunity with Cameron Dicker where he could have put the game away. At the minimum, forced Jacksonville to go down the field and score a touchdown. And if you're one of those fans that are saying, look what Jacksonville's been doing, of course they were going to go down the field and score a touchdown, I'm sorry, I can't have that conversation with you because we got to live off what happened. They ran the clock, they kicked the field goal, that was it. They were allowed that luxury. So, yes, I think that you do have to place blame on Justin Herbert because he is the quarterback. He is the captain, the leader of that team. He needs to better put this team in a position where you can't blow a 27-point lead. You can't give it the third most points in a comeback and not deserve blame. But I am looking at Joe Lombardi, and there's a reason why he was fired almost immediately after this game. Joe Lombardi, the fact that they... we just had this whole segment on Austin Eckler and how, they didn't trust him as a running back. That is a testament to Joe Lombardi. However you may feel on Austin Eckler, the fact that he had 13 carries total in this game is irresponsible. I don't care that he did not have the most efficient game. You have to trust Austin Eckler, one of the main reasons why you guys are in this position that you're in. Of course, it starts with Herbert, but right next on that line is Austin Eckler. Austin Eckler, again, we just had this whole conversation. Last 2 seasons, 40 touchdowns. This season, over 1,600 scrimmage yards. Get him the ball. And you did feel the absence of Mike Wills. So, yes, there is some blame to be placed on Brandon Staley as well. He had an amazing first half. Second half, he completely collapsed. You needed a big play player, and unfortunately, you did not have that luxury with Mike Will. He is the perfect counterpart to Keenan Allen, where Keenan Allen is more of a possession receiver, and Mike Will allows you that luxury to go deep. I am a fan of Joshua Palmer, but Josh Palmer is also in that realm with Keenan Allen. Of course, not to that degree. Keenan Allen's special. That's not at all what I'm saying. But Josh Palmer is a possession guy. Gets you on a slant, gets you a quick route, and make a catch. You needed that big play guy. Mike Will was not there, so Staley does get some blame. But the fact that Austin Eckler was not utilized as much as he should have. I don't care if you don't think that Austin Eckler is a good rusher. You could laugh all you want. Give him the opportunity. Live and die. At least say, you know what? We gave the ball to one of the league's best backs in the game, and it didn't work out. It is what it is. You didn't do that. Instead, you were giving opportunity to Josh Kelly. What kind of decision is that? Again, you could take this high horse mentality and
he averaged 2.7 yards a carry.
He was not good in the first half, no doubt. And if that's what you want to say, fine. If, again, like I said, he was not efficient, but at a point, you still have to ride with your guy because, like it or not, I love Derrick Henry as much as the next guy. Derrick Henry is one of my favorite guys to watch in the league. Derrick Henry gets 30 touches a game, even though he's not that efficient. Because why do you give it to him? Because he's your best offensive player.
That's Derrick Henry.
We're not going to talk about Austin Eckler like he's not putting up historic touchdown numbers.
Derrick Henry.
Of course, Derrick Henry is the best runner in the game.
Bro, I'm sorry. I just think you're going crazy with the Eckler love.
Really?
Yes.
Really? No,
I don't think the solution to the Chargers winning the game was give it to Eckler.
He's your best offensive player.
First drive of the second half of the Chargers. 1st and 10. Eckler, -4 yards. It's 2nd and 14. Should they run it in that position? At 2nd and 14?
At least get a pass to him, do something.
Pass short middle to Tarek McKinney for 5 yards. I think he said his name wrong, whatever. 3rd and 9. Are you giving it to Eckler on 3rd and 9?
3rd and 9?
Okay, that's what I'm saying. 1st and 10, because he completed a first down. He completed a first down pass 3rd and 9. Okay, 1st and 10, Herbert completes another first down. On the third basically possession on that drive, first down they pass it. Second down they pass it.
Okay,
Third
so
down,
first and second,
it's a pass to Eckler, incomplete. It's 4th and 10.
Okay.
They punt it. The next drive, 1st and 10. I don't know why they passed it to Gerald Everett, but they did. But it got
so on clear rushing downs.
But hold up, 1st and 10.
You just gave me 2 drives back to back. That Eckler didn't touch the ball rushing.
You didn't let me finish. 1st and 10 on that first down.
You're gonna go through every single drive.
1st and 10 on that drive. He completed a 21-yard pass to Gerald Everett that resulted in a first down. On that first down, they pass it again, incomplete.
This is 3 drives in a row on first down.
But
they are passing the ball.
But then Herbert got a first down on second down. 1st and 10, Eckler, rush, -1 yards. -1 yards. Very next drive.
Okay, the guy loves to use context. We also just went over this, that their rush line's not good.
Very next drive, 1st and 10, Eckler, no gain. Why are you giving him the ball? And then they put Joshua Kelly in the game.
And what did he do?
He got 4 yards in his first carry.
And then?
But no, he didn't do
And then he didn't do much. But Eckler did nothing. The answer was not give Eckler more rushes.
You just gave me 3 drives in a row
in the second
that on
half.
first down, they passed the ball when they're winning.
And they resulted in first downs.
No, they did not.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
No, they did not. You just told me that nothing happened with them. You said, yes, there was a first down in those situations.
That's not correct.
And then there was another pass on first down.
That's not correct.
That is correct. I'm listening to you as you're telling me.
The play-by-play on ESPN's here. The first down, if it was incomplete, and on second down, Herbert completed it for a first down. The drives that stalled were when they ran it on first down with Eckler. That's when they stalled. He had -4 yards, -1 yards, and 0 yards.
There was 2 times.
Look.
There was 2 times.
I don't want to make this an Eckler thing. I really don't, because the answer to the Chargers winning was not give the ball to Eckler. Trust me, it was not.
Oh, really? Their best offensive weapon?
It was not.
Like, oh my God! Like, what kind of sense does that make?
That was not the answer.
Because it's not like in the first half he didn't have 2 touchdowns.
Sorry, Dehls and Riv, were you watching a game and when the Chargers offense stalled, did you say, boy, you got to give it to Eckler here? No. They got to get something going with Eckler.
If you didn't say that, you haven't been watching Chargers football.
I have been. That's why I'm saying that's not the answer.
Eckler has been their best offensive player all season long.
Herbert.
What are we doing here?
Herbert doesn't. I don't. At least I don't think deserves a lot of blame for this loss. Yes, 27-0 is a bad collapse, and mind you, when these collapses happen, I am very consistent with the blame and no blame game. Matt Ryan
got it.
Was labeled a choker for his 28-3 collapse. I'm the only one that still says he didn't choke, because I don't believe he was the one that let the team down. He actually put the team in a position to win.
He did.
Justin Herbert, you look at the stats, they're not good. The Jaguars capped off the 3rd largest comeback in NFL postseason history. Herbert completed 58% of his passes, 273 yards, 1 touchdown, 84 rated. We know it's not, those aren't great numbers. I do agree that Herbert's bad games tend to get swept under the rug, especially in the regular season. But the postseason is just so much on it that, a game like this will not get swept under the rug. There's some truth to that. But I think a lot of people that watch Herbert don't understand the context of the situation. Joe Lombardi is a bad play caller.
He is.
When Joe Lombardi was hired onto Staley's staff, and I just read recent information that Staley's first choice was Kevin O'Connell. That would have been very fun.
I've been lit.
Joe Lombardi was always a bad hire. I always thought he was going to limit Justin Herbert. They have the 26th run blocking offensive line, so they can't run the ball. They have the 9th best pass blocking unit, and there's such a big discrepancy because Justin Herbert mitigates the offensive line because he doesn't allow pressures.
For sure.
They can't run the ball at all. In their passing game, there's not very good. The wide receivers can't beat anyone deep. Their best wide receiver is Keenan Allen. And Keenan Allen has had the most consistent and solid career. He's a great wide receiver.
No doubt.
He was.
When healthy.
I don't think he's a great wide receiver right now.
Dude, look at the
and
numbers.
There's things. There's
Look at the last
Keenan
5-6 weeks.
Keenan Allen
since
to
he's
me
back.
is a great number 2. It's not a number 1 anymore.
Nothing wrong with that.
He's not. And
When you look at the number 1 guys in the league,
Keenan Allen has always been a possession receiver. He's not a beater. I mean, 10 years ago when he was coming to the draft at the combine, I think he ran a 4.7.
yeah, slow 40.
He's not getting any faster. So he's
His route
slow.
running is crazy.
Yeah.
And Mike Williams did not play, and that's huge because that's their deep threat. Although he's not fast, he can catch 50-50
Super
balls.
physical.
-1 rushing yards after going up 27-0. You could say the Chargers should have been more conservative. I don't think running the ball is the answer. They can't run the ball. Herbert was getting them first downs. And this stat is alarming. PFF has something called perfectly covered plays, and it measures the percentage of plays the offense had that was perfectly covered by the defense. The Chargers offense versus the Jags defense had a percentage of 58%, the second highest, only behind the Bucs offense versus Cowboys defense. And that's why, the Tom Brady wash narrative is also kind of like dumb because, there was nothing open in that game either. League average is 34%, which means that
they were claiming.
Basically, the Jags knew everything the Chargers were going to do offensively, and that's because Joe Lombardi is predictable and uncreative. He's not a good play designer, play caller. And last show, I want to apologize because I vouched for Sean Payne getting this job. And, I think it would have been a great move, but I'm not opposed to them keeping Brandon Staley and just firing Shane Day and Joe Lombardi.
Correct.
Because Brandon Staley has been one of the better defensive play callers and game planners in the league this season. This is the same coach that held the Chiefs to one of their lowest scoring outputs of the season in Week 3, and that shut down this red-hot Miami Dolphins offense. Now, that was Brandon Staley, so I want to give him some credit. What I didn't like about Brandon Staley is that what do we know him for? Being an ultra-aggressive head coach. I'm going for it on fourth down. But he was conservative in this game. There were 0 fourth down attempts in this game. On 4th and 3 on Jacksonville's 22-yard line, the score was 30-20 at this point. It's 4th and 3. You're at the 22-yard line. You keep this drive alive, it can result in a touchdown. You have Justin Herbert. But instead, he trots out the kicker, and he misses the field goal.
Chip shot.
Look, I don't care.
Money.
Yeah, I understand it's a chip shot, but 4th and 3, the Brandon Staley I know and I've seen goes for right there. I saw him go for it against the Cleveland Browns when they were at midfield and they were up by like 1 point, and all the Browns needed was 10 yards to win the game, but he went for it because he trusted Herbert. So Brandon Staley should have went for it. And this year, he's gone for it sixth most on fourth down attempts. So I thought the conservativeness, the non-aggression was what cost Brandon Staley this game, and Joe Lombardi in part because he's a very conservative coach. Joe Lombardi failed with Matthew Stafford. I put up some stats on my Twitter the other day about Matthew Stafford and how much he improved after Lombardi left Detroit. And Matthew Stafford, 2015 stats with Lombardi, 12 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 87 passer rating. Lions were 1-6. Without him, he had 20 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 105 passer rating, and record was 6-3. Joe Lombardi, he was rightfully fired. I don't blame much of this game on Justin Herbert. I think there are times he could have been better. There's no doubt. But when you're going out there and the entire offense is you, and there are certain quarterbacks in the league right now that are in offenses that ask them to carry a gigantic load. Josh Allen is one of them. Justin Herbert is one of them. Stop it. Lamar Jackson is one of them.
You're crude for that. You're crude.
The best thing the Chargers can do right now is hire the right offensive play caller.
Absolutely.
And draft receivers. You need an overhaul at the receiver position. Like, I like Josh Palmer. I do. I like Mike Will. I like Keenan. But Keenan's getting a lot of money. You know, there's definitely a question about what his future looks like with the Chargers. They need a draft receiver. They need to sign some guys, some speedsters, and they need to take advantage of Justin Herbert's talents. They're playing him like he's Tua, just a dink and dunk quarterback.
Jesus, you're Daniel Jones, right?
He let in average. Why am I even gonna?
I'm really not giving Justin Herbert a ton to blame either here. First of all, the first half he was damn near perfect. I mean, you put up 27 points.
Sorry, that was mean.
What?
Sorry.
Come on, man. Fuck.
I apologize. I should have said Teddy Bridgewater.
Okay, that's more fair.
Sorry.
Thank you.
I revised my statement. Teddy Bridgewater.
I was gonna say because Tua showed out this year.
Yeah.
The first drive, the first half, Herbert was damn near perfect. They had 8 possessions: touchdown, field goal, punt, touchdown, punt, field goal, punt. I mean, if you're scoring more than you're punting, odds are you're going to be up in the game. Odds are you should be winning games. If you're scoring touchdowns more than you're punting, or the same amount as you're punting, 3 punts, 3 touchdowns in the first half. That's what the Chargers did. The first half, they were dominant. And I think what really stood out to me was the first drive of the second half. The last drive of the first half was the drive the Jags went down the field, scored a touchdown. You felt the momentum. And in that Chargers first drive, they got the ball first in the second half. They were going down the field, right? This is after Jacksonville is getting some momentum there. They get the touchdown. They have the ball on the 25. They're starting to go down the field. It's 3rd and 9. Herbert steps up in the pocket, hits Gerald Everett. He evades pressure, makes the guy miss, hits Gerald Everett. He gets a 20, 30-yard gain. Eventually, they get stopped in a sense. I think that was when you were talking about Austin Eckler, -4 yards and completion. It's ended up being 4th and 10 from Jacksonville's 38. Now, we know Brandon Staley, as you mentioned, being a very aggressive guy. Not only did I see him go for it on the 50 against the Browns, I've seen him go for it on his own 30-yard line at times. I understand this is 4th and 10 instead of, 4th and 1 or 4th and 2. It's a different situation, but we've seen coaches, the most aggressive coaches tend to win. Look at Brian Dable this past weekend. He was going for it on 4th down in the red zone. They ended up getting touchdown one of those plays. So that 4th and 10 play where it's the 38-yard line. You could kick maybe a 50-ish yard field goal. Dicker's been pretty solid ever since he's came there, but I understand it's a long field goal. You could go for it. I know it's 4th and 10, but you have Justin Herbert, a top 4 quarterback, as we've been discussing, or you could punt it. And they ended up punting it. And you go from the 38, and Jacksonville gets the ball on their own 12-yard line. So you end up giving them 20 yards. That's the big thing you did. Instead of going for that last attempt with Justin Herbert, your all-world level quarterback, you end up punting the ball. And aggressiveness really wins in the NFL. That's the way. If you want to win playoff games, if you really want to make an impact, you have to be more aggressive. And I never thought I was going to be up here saying Brandon Staley has to be more aggressive, but I thought in this situation he did. After that drive, Jacksonville gets the ball, 14 plays, 90 yards, leads to a touchdown, 27-14. Now we're rolling. The game's on to 2-touchdown game. Everyone feels Jacksonville's momentum. Everyone feels that this could be the statement game for Trevor Lawrence. And even still, after that touchdown drive that Trevor Lawrence had, the next drive, the Chargers scored a field goal. Drive after that, they had a 14-play, 60-yard drive that took up 7 minutes. And then the drive after that was the missed field goal, 40 yards by Dicker. So it's not like Justin Herbert was going out here and putting up 3 and outs and taking off 35 seconds on the clock. In the second half, they had 37-yard possession, 45-yard possession, and a 58-yard possession. Herbert did his job. Herbert, I understand maybe the points weren't there in the second half, but he had multiple opportunities. All 3 times were in Jacksonville's side of the field. So at the bare minimum, you should be giving your defense a long field to go back on the other side. The defense obviously let up big plays. You had Evan Ingram, Kirk, and Zay Jones all over 70 receiving yards. Etienne over 100 rushing yards. Trevor with 3 passing touchdowns in the second half. And we mentioned the Chargers, Austin Eckler, 13 carries, 35 yards. Josh Kelly, 7 carries, 20 yards. Their longest rush on the day was 13 yards by Justin Herbert. So, he only had a handful of carries, but still, that goes to show you that there still needs to be some balance. We're going to talk about the Vikings a little bit. I thought that was a big issue for them as well, where it is hard, especially for an offense, when the defense knows what's coming, when you're not able to run the ball and the defense knows the only way you're really going to move the ball on me is passing. It's a lot easier for a defense to do it. Sometimes you have the personnel like Jacksonville who ended up locking it up in the second half, and you have some teams like Minnesota who doesn't have the personnel, and you could still just pass on them all you want and make something happen. So it's somewhat unfair because I do think Herbert deserves some of the blame. A 27-point lead is never on one unit or one player or one side of the ball. But in this case, it is hard to look at it and say, if Justin Herbert was better, they would win the game. I think you really have to look at the defense, the play calling, and like you mentioned, overall just getting more explosive playmakers for Herbert.
You think
Mr. His voice.
you think Mike Williams not playing was
huge.
Was a sign of him not being aggressive enough?
No, I mean he broke part of his back.
Staley.
Oh,
Yeah,
the
coach.
game plan.
Yes.
I think that definitely goes into it because they don't have anybody that can beat the defense, or they trust with 50-50 balls.
It's so tough, and Dehls said it, and you like to defend Matt Ryan a lot, but it's so tough to blow a 20+ point lead and it not be the quarterback's fault. Obviously, I don't think Justin Herbert gets all the blame. I think it starts from the coach, then it goes down to Herbert, then it goes down to everybody else, running back, wide receiver, defense, because the defense, as stout as they was in the first half, you got to stay the consistent route. You got to be the same. But I think offensively, it starts with the quarterback, then it dishes out to everybody else. But Herbert wasn't bad. He put his team in positions to score. He put his team in positions to win. Brandon, it's tough because in this game, even in the second half, when the second half started, I think for the most part, everybody felt in the third quarter a storm is brewing. They're going to come back. This game is not over. You saw Jacksonville. They at home. They starting to get that energy back. And it was
fans are crazy.
It was so tough for the Chargers. It was so tough for Justin Herbert, too, because he doesn't have a guy on the outside. He's throwing to Jared Everett, as good as he isn't that guy that's going to help you win a playoff game. Like, he's in a game record. He's not one of them top receivers like Diggs, Chase. So he doesn't have that. So that sucks. But I think the play calling wasn't good. From first half to second half, the adjustments weren't made. They weren't aggressive enough. If you up 20 points, you should continue to be more aggressive. You should continue to be on attack mode, because like something like this can happen. You can lose a lead. So for the Chargers, it's just, where do they go for here? You said they draft receivers, but what do you do with Keenan Allen? What do you do with Mike Williams? You just paid him. It's tough. Austin Eckler, maybe you can get another guy who's a more rusher
it's a
type.
Deep running back class.
You get
draft.
Eckler in the pass catch. You get a guy who can run the ball more consistent, a little bit better, a power back, somebody who can complement Eckler. You just need to keep. It's hilarious that with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams and Eckler, you still think an offense needs a little bit more. With those three guys, because they're such big names. But the Chargers just offensively, even though they was up 27-7, for me personally, I still didn't think they had the game in the bag, because they had no way to continue to be aggressive. Like, even in the Bills and Miami game, they was causing hella turnovers. But Bills were aggressive from start to finish, aggressive, still throwing up. They had a 1st and 10 and threw a 50-yard bomb.
A little too aggressive to a point.
100%. They do that still, but that's what you want in the playoffs, because at any moment, you can make a play, you can have something big. So you got to continue to be aggressive, and the Chargers weren't that.
I wanted the Chargers this past draft to trade up for Jameson Williams. That was something I was talking about during our pre-draft process. They ended up drafting Zion Johnson, who's been solid for them, and obviously they've needed offensive line. They've gotten better over the years, but it always felt, even coming into the season, you have Keenan, you have Mike Williams, but again, like we're saying, Keenan is getting up there in age. He got banged up this year. Mike Williams, again, someone who can stay on the field, and Austin Eckler, who is definitely a top 10 back, but even still, you need someone that could take the top off the defense. Someone who, Mike Williams is even more like, he's a deep threat, but he's like a jump ball deep threat. You know what I mean? Like, he's not going to burn somebody down the field like you would. I don't want to, not everyone has Jameson Williams type speed, but when you have the opportunity to have this talented quarterback, you do whatever it takes to get special players around him. And as good as Zion Johnson might be in the future, and who knows, maybe he turns into an all-pro guard, or he could play tackle too, whatever. If you could get a guy like Jameson Williams who could just straight up take the top off of defense, we've seen very few spurts of it this season when he's been on the field. He has game-changing type speed. Whenever you have the chance to get someone that can just completely change the outlook of your offense, you should be aggressive, go up and do it. The Chargers didn't do it, and now they're going to be looking for it in this draft and this free agency.